people can feel what they feel. So if you organize a press conference and you simply repeat the fact that the economic hardship is worsening, what have you done?
Well, Samson, there are two ways to deal with a nation in crisis. One is to, as a leader, show empathy if you are unable to resolve the challenge immediately. And the other is to give a direction to the people as to how you are working to get them out of the problem. So two ways. You either show empathy or you give a direction and rally everybody around the way to get out of the problem. Unfortunately, in our circumstance, what we have is offbeat dancing. You go online and you see the chairman of the economic management team. And mind you, we are discussing economy, and it's because of the mismanagement and clueless handling of the economy that people are in the state that they are in. And yet you go online, social media, and the first thing that hits you is an offbeat dancing economic management committee chairman. And it's as if what is at stake is not about businesses collapsing. It's not about people struggling to keep body and soul together. But what is at stake is an election to win. It's as if that is the only thing at stake. It's an election to win, not a nation to build, not jobs to save, not businesses to save, not an economy in distress to salvage. And I wish I could provide a context to this discussion, Samson. I'll try, but because of time, I may skip some of the things. Our economy faced challenges between 2014, 2015, 2016, thereabout. As a result of a single spine salary structure that we introduced, that was considered to be revenue neutral, but didn't turn out to be so. Worse, we had an energy crisis. An energy crisis that was due to three challenges: debt in the energy sector, low generation capacity, and unsustainable supply of fuel. These three challenges led to an energy crisis coupled with the introduction of the single spine. Single spine, by the way, that led to the doubling of salaries of many public workers. Then we also had the tumbling of commodity prices around that time. And so the economy was hit so bad that the Cedi started moving from 2 cedis thereabout to about 3.84 cedis. And we're all alarmed as a country. In fact, I remember a man of God preaching with alarm that the Cedi was almost hitting 5. And that was unthinkable. Fast forward. By 2016, the triple challenge that created the energy crisis were resolved. The fuel was resolved through the fast tracking of Ghana gas coming on stream. The generation capacity was resolved by bringing in Ameri and the other plants,
to the point of having excess capacity.
To the point of having excess capacity. And then the debt situation was also handled by the introduction of ESLA. That was supposed to generate revenue every month for the settlement of these debts. And so the single spine effect was somewhat neutralized. And then we created, a fiscal space for the government to begin to raise revenue from the bond markets and others. So the EIU in 2016 predicted that government of Ghana's GDP was going to grow by about 8% in 2017. This prediction was in 2016. And so in 2017, a new government took over and perhaps sustained these hard work and gains that had been made. And so we posted about 8%, and then they sustained the gains. But guess what? They stopped the investments and the hard work that led to that prediction in 2016. And so the signs started showing on the wall. They went on a debt binge, accumulating debts and celebrating with kenke parties. And the debt is the core of our problem today. Any economist will tell you. They moved it from about 120 billion to almost 600 billion. And
there was a banking crisis, and they needed to find 25 billion that was not contemplated to pay for.
You know, that's for another discussion. But their approach to dealing with the banking crisis has been proven not to be the only approach they could have used. And perhaps if they had used another approach, the cost would have been better. And that is where the cluelessness of their approach comes in. If they had used a better approach, maybe we would not have had to spend as much as we spent and still ended up collapsing businesses and creating unemployment as a result of the approach that they use. So, like I was saying, they binge on that. They were clueless about the excesses that they inherited and even stopped contributing to some of the buffers that were created. And as a minority then, we kept ringing the bell, the alarm bells. But it was not obvious then for everybody to see. And then COVID hit. Look, this government had the best goodwill ever. Even under COVID, the revenue that came to them, in my view, wouldn't have even been realized if we didn't have COVID. So it was actually a blessing in disguise if you look at it in terms of how much money was at the disposal of this government. And mind you, this government also have had the opportunity of being one that has raised the most tax revenue from the people of Ghana with little complaint. How many demonstrations have you seen on the streets against government increment in taxes? And yet,
so we're getting to the end of your presentation.
Yes, and yet they have been able to raise almost 300 billion tax revenue in the last couple of years. So, to whom much is given, much is expected. And so we did not, as a country, have any business getting to a point where our debt levels become unsustainable and we are unable to pay them as things stand today. We have had to endure multiple haircuts. As things stand now, we are not even paying our external debt, and yet we are unable to manage the stability of our Cedi. And so it is as a result of this reckless management, and that is why the minority had to remind the people of Ghana again that, look, we rang the bell, the alarm bells earlier, they didn't listen, and unfortunately, we are in this mess, and they don't seem to even recognize the mess that we are in, and are not suggesting ways to deal with it. Rather, what the things they are doing are making things worse, and that's why the minority leader pointed to the off-budget expenditure that they are engaged in. That is further bringing pressure to bear on the city.